You're watching a revolution unfold in front of your eyes, and if you're not paying attention, you could miss out on one of the biggest financial opportunities of the decade. The world is burning, not just from climate change, but from billions of dollars sitting right under our noses, ready to be seized, if you know where to look. Blockchain, the same technology behind Bitcoin, isn't just changing the way we think about money. It's about to reshape the entire financial world, and it's linked directly to something we've been ignoring for far too long: carbon emissions. This isn't a story about saving the planet, it's about saving your financial future. The opportunity: tracking carbon emissions using blockchain, and it's huge. Think this is all just eco-talk? Think again. This is the kind of market that could make the next wave of billionaires, and that could include you. Stick with me for the next few minutes, and I'll show you how you can profit from something the world is desperately trying to fix. If you're ready to dive into the future of finance, sustainability, and blockchain, hit that subscribe button now and join the conversation. Because today, I'm going to show you how this is more than just a trend. It's a financial goldmine you don't want to miss. Did you know that your next big financial opportunity could be found in something as unexpected as carbon emissions? And it's all powered by blockchain technology. Now, you might be thinking, how can I make money off emissions tracking? It might sound unconventional, but in today's rapidly evolving market, blockchain is taking on a new role, one that could be incredibly lucrative, not just for tech enthusiasts, but for anyone interested in making it in the finance world. Blockchain has been primarily associated with cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all that. But what if I told you that blockchain is evolving into a game-changing solution for tracking emissions, particularly in supply chains? Yes, the same blockchain that's been changing the way we think about money is now being used to help businesses reduce their carbon footprint. And here's the kicker: it's not just an environmental win, it's also a financial one. If you get involved now, you could be part of something huge. So let me take you through how blockchain is transforming an industry, how it can help companies track supply chain emissions, and more importantly, how you can profit from it. This isn't just for tech companies or environmentalists. This is for investors, businesses, and anyone who wants to stay ahead of the financial curve in an increasingly eco-conscious world. Before we dive into the details of how blockchain can be used for emissions tracking, let's make sure we're all on the same page about what blockchain actually is. At its core, blockchain is a decentralized and distributed ledger technology. Think of it as a digital notebook, but instead of being stored on one computer, it's spread across many. And once data is added to the blockchain, it's almost impossible to tamper with. The beauty of this system is that it allows for secure, transparent, and trustworthy record-keeping, which is why it's been used for everything from cryptocurrency to tracking supply chains and now, emissions data. Blockchain works through a series of blocks connected in a chain, where each block contains a list of transactions or data entries. Once a block is filled, it's added to the chain, and a new block is created. This data is stored across thousands of computers, making it extremely difficult to alter or falsify information. This system eliminates the need for a middleman, and because it's decentralized, it's not controlled by any one entity, giving it a level of transparency that's hard to achieve with traditional methods. When it comes to business, blockchain's ability to provide a secure and transparent record of transactions makes it incredibly useful for industries where trust and accountability are key. For example, let's take a look at the way it's being used in the food supply chain. Walmart, one of the largest retailers in the world, uses blockchain to track the origins of food products. Previously, it could take days to trace a mango from farm to store. With blockchain, the process has been reduced to mere seconds. This level of transparency and traceability is now being adapted for tracking carbon emissions throughout supply chains. Now that we've established what blockchain is, let's talk about the problem it's helping to solve. Carbon emissions, and more specifically, Scope 3 emissions, are a huge challenge in the fight against climate change. Scope 3 emissions refer to the indirect emissions that occur in a company's supply chain, everything from the production of raw materials to the transportation of products to their eventual disposal. Unlike Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions, which are more easily tracked, Scope 1 is direct emissions from owned operations, and Scope 2 is indirect emissions from purchased energy. Scope 3 emissions are much harder to quantify. In fact, Scope 3 emissions often make up the majority of a company's total carbon footprint. According to the World Economic Forum, just 8 supply chains are responsible for more than half of global emissions. That's an astonishing statistic, especially when you consider how many industries rely on these complex, far-reaching supply chains. The fact that Scope 3 emissions are difficult to track and verify is a major problem for businesses trying to meet climate goals or comply with environmental regulations. So why is it so hard to track these emissions? First off, supply chains are incredibly complex. A product could be manufactured in one country, shipped across several others, and then sold in a completely different market. Each stage in the process could contribute emissions in different ways, from energy use during production to transportation emissions to the environmental impact of packaging and waste disposal. Right now, there's no universal system to keep track of these emissions, and that's where blockchain comes in. Here, where blockchain offers a solution. Imagine a blockchain-based system where each entity in the supply chain, whether it's a supplier, manufacturer, or retailer, adds data about their emissions to a shared, tamper-resistant ledger. This means that companies would have access to real-time, accurate information about the emissions associated with each part of the supply chain. And because blockchain ensures that data cannot be altered once it's recorded, it provides an undeniable record of a company's environmental impact. Let's break this down. Blockchain creates an immutable, transparent record that businesses, investors, and even governments can trust. With blockchain, data from each supply chain participant can be securely logged, and because blockchain is decentralized, no single party has control over the data. This makes it far less likely that anyone will manipulate the emissions data for their own benefit. In practice, companies could use blockchain to track emissions from their suppliers, manufacturers, and logistics partners, and they could be sure that the data is accurate and tamper-proof. By doing so, companies could prove their commitment to reducing their environmental impact and meet ESG reporting requirements with much more credibility. This type of transparency would also help businesses make more informed decisions about which suppliers to partner with, choosing those who are more committed to sustainability and responsible environmental practices. We've already seen blockchain's ability to revolutionize other industries. Walmart, for example, has successfully used blockchain for food safety by tracking the origin and journey of food products, significantly reducing the time it takes to trace contaminated products. If blockchain can do that for food safety, why not for emissions tracking? One of the ways blockchain can directly impact the financial world is through its role in carbon credits and carbon markets. Carbon credits are essentially permits that allow companies to emit a certain amount of carbon dioxide, with the idea that if they exceed their allotted emissions, they must buy additional credits. On the other hand, if they emit less than their allotted amount, they can sell their excess credits to companies that need them. Blockchain's role in this system is clear. Right now, carbon credit markets are plagued by problems like fraud and a lack of transparency. With blockchain, companies can ensure that carbon credits are genuine, tamper-proof, and verifiable. Blockchain could be used to track the creation, sale, and transfer of carbon credits, ensuring that all transactions are recorded in a secure and transparent manner. This would help reduce the risk of fraud and ensure that companies are actually reducing their emissions in line with the credits they're purchasing. The rise of blockchain's use in emissions tracking and carbon markets presents a huge opportunity for companies to not only reduce their environmental impact, but also generate revenue by providing these valuable services. Blockchain can create new business models by offering emissions tracking as a service, or by enabling companies to participate in carbon credit markets with greater confidence. But it's not just about tracking emissions. The carbon credit market itself is ripe for disruption, and blockchain could be the catalyst that transforms it into a much more efficient, transparent, and scalable system. Blockchain could help unlock new revenue streams for businesses that can provide verified, real-time emissions data to buyers and sellers in the carbon market. Blockchain's role in the fight against climate change isn't just about solving one problem. It's about creating new opportunities for businesses to innovate, profit, and contribute to global sustainability goals. By investing in blockchain technologies for emissions tracking and carbon markets, companies can position themselves as leaders in the growing field of green tech and sustainability. As we've seen, no technological advancement is without its risks, and blockchain is no different. There are still plenty of challenges ahead. Adoption, scalability, and regulatory hurdles are all obstacles that need to be overcome before blockchain can become the go-to solution for emissions tracking and carbon markets. Companies will need to work together, share data, and ensure that blockchain solutions are implemented in a way that benefits everyone in the supply chain. The good news is that blockchain technology is already proving itself in other industries, and as the demand for transparent, verifiable emissions data continues to grow, so too will the market for blockchain-based solutions. It's up to us to recognize the potential and seize the opportunity before it becomes the next big financial trend. If you're ready to get in on this revolution and start positioning yourself for success, now's the time to start exploring blockchain's role in emissions tracking and carbon credits. Whether you're an investor, a business owner, or just someone looking to stay ahead of the curve, the future of finance and sustainability is here, and blockchain is at the heart of it. If you found this video helpful and informative, make sure to subscribe for more updates on the latest trends in finance, blockchain, and technology. We're just scratching the surface here, and the opportunities are endless. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think blockchain will be the game changer in emissions tracking? Share your opinions and let's get the conversation going. Don't forget to like and share this video, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.